Hello anybody, and thanks for tuning into Monday Morning Handicapping. This is a 2026 Kentucky Derby Prospects video where I'm going to be taking a deeper look at one of the upcoming Kentucky Derby hopefuls. The horse that I'm going to be covering in this video is a horse by the name of Litmus Test, whose sire was a horse named Nyquist, whose dam was a horse named Study Hard, whose dam sire was a horse named Malibu Moon. This horse is trained by Bob Baffert, and current jockey is Juan Hernandez. Here's just a quick look at some of the videos that I've covered thus far. Take note of the date that those videos were published because a lot can happen between the date it was published and now. So if you're interested in any of these runners, feel free to go back and take a look, but just keep in mind of the date that I put out the video in case I'm missing any races or any other additional information. So as of now, January 21st, 2026, Litmus Test was sold for $875,000 as a yearling in 2024. Currently in second place with 19 points towards the Kentucky Derby, and by rule of thumb, you're going to need about 50 to enter the starting gate. He's currently about 35-1 odds in the Kentucky Derby futures betting pools, depending on where you're wagering. He currently has 5 races, 2 wins, and a third place finish with $350,000 in career earnings. And using the first 20-point race for 3-year-olds in the U.S. with the Lecomte Stakes as a significant mark on the calendar, it's time to start looking at the top-tier contenders. So taking a look at the pedigree of Litmus Test, the sire Nyquist was sold for $400,000 as a 2-year-old in training. He had 11 career starts, 8 wins, and a third-place finish with $5.2 million in career earnings. All 11 of his races were on the dirt, 7 of 11 which were routing, so a mile or more. In route races, 7 starts, 4 wins, and a third-place finish. And I'm looking at route races because obviously we want to see if these horses can get the Kentucky Derby distance, which is 1.25 miles. All 4 route wins were grade 1s, including the 2016 Kentucky Derby at odds of 2-1, and those are remarkably low odds for a 20-horse field. This horse was bet like a sure thing and ended up winning the Kentucky Derby. Has yet to sire an official Derby runner. This horse has had a couple of horses on the trail, but never actually ran the race. His stud fee has gone up from $40,000 in 2017 up to $175,000 in 2026. This just tells me that there's a lot of demand for this horse's runners, so Litmus Test could be one of those runners that there's a reasonable demand for because he is producing some talented runners. The dam or mother of Litmus Test, Study Hard, bought for $100,000 as a yearling, had 3 career starts, never finished first, second, or third. Her best finish was 6th place, going 1 mile on the dirt. 3 of her 4 runners she's produced have won a race. And now the dam sire, Malibu Moon, so the father of Study Hard, 2 career starts, 1 win, 1 second with $34,000 in career earnings. Only win was 5 furlongs on the dirt, though his sire, AP Indy, is known for producing long distance types. Malibu Moon retired from racing due to a serious injury, a slap fracture in his knee. He is considered an elite sire with progeny, including 2013 Kentucky Derby winner Orb. So even though this horse didn't race too often, his pedigree suggests that he should be able to pass on some longer distance types. Connections of Litmus Test. Starting with the trainer, Bob Baffert has a career win rate of 23% from 15,000 starters. At the graded stakes level, a win rate of 24% from 2,500 starters. 6 official Kentucky Derby wins, which is tied for the record after Medina Spirit's victory in 2021 was later revoked to a failed drug test. He's a 4-time Eclipse winner for Outstanding Trainer, inducted into the Racing Hall of Fame in 2009, ranked 10th in earnings in 2024, and 28th in wins in 2024. The jockey Juan Hernandez, a career win rate of 22% from 13,000 starts. Graded stakes win rate of 22% from 600 starts. Has 16 grade 1 victories in his career so far. Exclusively a California-based jockey, ranked 12th in earnings in 2024 and 17th in wins in 2024. So now we're going to start looking at the races of Litmus Test. His debut race, first ever time racing, August 16, 2025 at Del Mar. We'll go over some notes, watch the replay, and look at who else he ran against. So some notes about this race: 5.5 furlongs, so a sprint race on the dirt, a fast track, in a maiden special weight. Breaks cleanly from post number 2 of 7. Comfortably runs between several horses early, stalking the leaders by about 2 lengths. And when young horses are in between other horses, especially early in their career, they can get a little frazzled and get thrown off their game. But this horse seemed to keep his head down and stick to his business. Gets a relatively clear trip in the 2 or 3 path into the turn and commences his move to go after the leader halfway around the turn. Gets on terms with the leader as they straighten down the stretch. Wins comfortably by 3/4 of a length at even money. 6 lengths clear of the 3rd place finisher. So he was even money, the favorite, and expected to win. Won by 3/4 of a length, but these top 2 finishers were way ahead of everyone else in the field. The splits of this race were 21.5, 23.4, 12.4 to the 5 furlong, and then 6.3 to the final 16th, which roughly equates to a 25-second final. So fast early, started to slow down, but this horse kept cruising on the front end. So let's watch that replay. So our horse number 2 out of a field of 7. Yellow cap jockey, gets out clean. Not rushed to the front, doesn't take back though. Seeing what's going on around him. Here he's in between horses. You can see the horse is staying calm, keeping his head down, running forward, not getting too concerned with what's around him. Still boxed in with horses all around him, still comfortable though. See the jockey's arms pumping, asking this horse to keep up. Not that the horse is struggling, but just keep him engaged, not let the leader get carried away. Still in between horses, horse right in front, 1 to his outside. Now the 1 to his outside falls back. He's got clear sailing in the 2-3 path around the turn. Whip is out on the jockey. Is about on terms. Did a little skip right there entering the stretch, but regained his footing, going strong. You can see this 2-to-1 shot coming up on his outside, but number 2 has the win in hand. So won fairly comfortably with a pretty nice trip. Some of the others in this race, that second place finisher has 5 career starts, no wins yet, 2 seconds and 3/3. Horse named Falcon Jet, $750,000 purchase. That was this horse's second start, the race we just watched, and this horse is still a maiden, has yet to win a race. Third place finisher, 6 career starts, 1 win, 1 second, 1/3. Horse named Send It Mo, $180,000 purchase. That was this horse's second start. Won an optional claimer at Del Mar while still a maiden in his 5th start. Fourth place finisher, 7 career starts, 1 win, 1 second. Horse named In the Mix, a $40,000 purchase. That was his second start. Broke his maiden in his 6th start at Los Alamitos. Litmus Test, second start, September 7, 2025 at Del Mar, 3 weeks later. Some notes about the race: 7 furlongs on the dirt, a fast track, the Grade 1 Del Mar Futurity, stretching out 3/16 of a mile, and a huge step up in class, which just tells me that the trainer's confident about this horse. Horse breaks cleanly from post number 6 of 6 from the far outside. Stalks the leaders from the 4 path early by about 2 or 3 lengths. Starts to advance heading into the turn, staying 4 wide around the turn. Veered in considerably when changing leads in the stretch, bumped another horse but stayed once he got settled. Finished 4th at 15-1 by 4 lengths behind a horse that was 1-9 odds, which is as short as it gets, so that horse was very much expected to win. The splits for this race were 21.9, 22.7, 24.6, and 12.8, so very fast early and then slowed down considerably late, as you would expect. This horse moved up into a very fast early pace and stayed on late after a hiccup entering the stretch. So as you can see, this horse is making his move while these fractions are still hot, telling me the horse is accelerating while the leaders are still going very quick. So that just tells me this horse is capable of some good speed. So let's watch that race now. Horse number 6. Looks like jockey has a blue cap this time. It's easier to keep track of your horse sometimes by knowing the cap color of the jockeys. So break straight. No issues with the break. Everyone pretty clean. Horse is not up for the front. This gray horse in front is the 1-9, the big favorite, expected to win. You can see the odds down at the bottom of the screen. Our horse stalking those leaders on the far outside. He could save ground by moving down towards the rail, but looks like he's opting to stay out wide, losing ground around the turn. And this is where the 6 Litmus Test starts to creep up, even though the fractions are still pretty hot. This horse is definitely capable of speed. And he's going wide around the turns, losing ground to this horse on the inside, the 1-9 shot. The jockey on Litmus Test looks pretty comfortable. He's not asking the horse to do too much. Now he hits him once with the whip, asking them to go, try to get after this leader. This leader just riding the rail the whole time. Here he comes, has a little hiccup here, veers in a little bit. He's throwing his head around, bumps this horse right there just a little bit. Maybe hurt his momentum, bumps again. But once he gets his footing, he's not really losing too much ground to the leader, stays on pretty well, finishes a narrow 4th. So the others in this race, that first place finisher, 3 career starts, 2 wins and a third, a horse named Brant. This horse cost $3 million. That was his second start, and currently the same odds for the Kentucky Derby as Litmus Test. Second place finisher, 4 career starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds, a horse named Desert Gate. $260,000 purchase. This was his 3rd start. Currently 55-1 for the Kentucky Derby, and ran second to Intrepido next start, who is also 55-1 for the Kentucky Derby. Third place finisher, 3 career starts, a second and a third, a horse named Civil Liberty, $160,000 purchase, second start and still a maiden. Third start for Litmus Test, October 4, 2025 at Keeneland, 4 weeks from the previous race. 8.5 furlongs on the dirt, a fast track, Grade 1 Breeders' Futurity, remains at the Grade 1 level but ships to Kentucky for this race. breaks cleanly from post number 5 of 6, makes the lead heading into the first turn, being stalked by the current Kentucky Derby betting favorite Ted Nafi. Leads into the backstretch by 1 length. Jockey begins to ask for more entering the far turn as Ted Nafi begins to close in. Concedes the lead entering the stretch, but does not have any issues changing leads or veering this time. Does not fade poorly, just gets beat and finished third at 9-1 by 5 lengths. So 9-1, this horse wasn't exactly expected to win, but runs a good race and actually has a change of tactics by going to the lead this time. The fractions for this race were 24, 24.3, 24.4, 24.8, and 6.6. Relatively even, but slowing down just a bit. Now let's watch that race. There's Ted Nafi, your Kentucky Derby favorite. So we're horse number 5 of 6, just so that horse is inside. Break cleanly, we're in the yellow cap this time. This time, change of tactics, go to the lead. Ted Nafi right to our outside, jockey in the orange shirt. So about the 2 path going into the first turn. Got the lead pretty clear, all to ourselves, not being challenged, not being pressured, not adding additional pressure to our horse. Ted Nafi just perched right outside of us. Litmus Test starts to pull away just a little bit, 23.96 to the first quarter. A little bit fast for a race this distance this early in their career. See if they can sustain it. Ted Nafi not going anywhere, not giving this Litmus Test a breather whatsoever. Just keeping stride. Hasn't been challenged yet, but is not getting a break, forcing our horse to keep up the speed. Ted Nafi begins to creep up to the outside of Litmus Test. Jockey on Litmus Test sees him, starts pumping his arm, seeing what else the horse has got. Our horse is getting the rail trip too, so saving just a little bit of ground. Litmus Test, look at the jockey just motionless, not really asking the horse to really pick it up yet. Our horse down on the rail, running straight, not veering, gets a touch of the whip, runs through it, does not veer in or out, away from the whip. See, not exactly being blown away till now. Keeps on. Margin wasn't terrible. So looking at some of the other horses he faced in this race, the first place finisher, 4 career starts, 4 wins, undefeated, Ted Nafi, $650,000 purchase. This was his 3rd career start. He won the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile after this race. Undefeated and current Kentucky Derby betting favorite. 2nd place finisher, a horse that I've done a video on already. 3 career starts, 1 win, 2 seconds. Horse named Blackout Time, $210,000 purchase. 3rd and most recent start. Hasn't been seen since being scratched from that Breeders' Cup Juvenile in which Ted Nafi won. 4th place finisher, we're going to see it because we ran 3rd. 3 career starts, 2 wins. Daikiaset, sorry if I mispronounced that name, $100,000 purchase. 3rd and most recent start, broke his maiden and won an ungraded stake sprinting. Stepped up in class and distance here. 4th career start for Litmus Test, October 31st, 2025 at Del Mar, 4 weeks from the previous race. 8.5 furlongs on the dirt, a fast track, the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Remained at Grade 1 level, but ships back to his home track. Gets bumped from both sides, breaking from post number 4 of 6. Our horse is number 6 because there were 2 scratches, but we're breaking from the 4th post from the most inner post, 4th from the rail. Stalks the leaders entering the first turn in the 3 path by 2 to 3 lengths. Jockey seems to feel the necessity to keep the horse engaged throughout, using his hands before asking to go entering the far turn. Horse takes the far turn in the 3 path, and jockey is all out before the stretch. Puts in a good effort after falling back some, but no match for Kentucky Derby favorite Ted Nafi. Finished 4th at 21-1 by 1.5 lengths, so not a bad run for a horse that was 21-1 to the Kentucky Derby betting favorite. The split's much faster this time than last race, 23.5, 23.5, 23.8, 24.9, 6.5, which roughly equates to a 26-second if they were to go an additional quarter. But as you can see, these fractions sped up from last race. These horses are improving, and that margin was diminished to Ted Nafi. So Litmus Test could as well be improving, but let's watch that race now. So we are horse number 6, coming from the 4 path though, the 4 post rather. So we get bumped by both sides here. If you watch the head-on replay, you'll see it a little more explicitly, but got squeezed a little bit, maybe slowed him down just a tad. Now it's kind of role reversal from the last race. Now Litmus Test is on the outside of Ted Nafi, stalking him. 3 wide into the first turn. See the jockey's hands, not still, just asking a little bit just to keep pace. Not really go get the leader, but just stay engaged. I'm sure he does not want Ted Nafi to get away from him. Everyone settles here. Ted Nafi once again just stalking that leader just like last race. Waiting for his cue from the jockey to go and get him. See Litmus Test starting to cut into the margin just slightly. Wants to stay pretty close to Ted Nafi. Watch the arms on number 6, Litmus Test. The arms of the jockey, rather. Starting to ask the horse to go. Litmus Test going wide again, losing ground to the runners to his inside. Jockey's really starting to pump his arms. The whip is out. Feels a tap of the whip, and this is where I thought it looked like he was falling back a little bit, but once he gets into the straight, he actually starts making up some ground on Ted Nafi and the other runner to his inside. And if you watch the final few strides, Ted Nafi pulls away, but Litmus Test is coming and cuts that margin to a length and a half. So again, looking at the others in this race, first place finisher, 4 starts, 4 wins, Ted Nafi, $650,000 purchase. Fourth and most recent start, this horse just got back on the workout tab, is coming back for his next start somewhat soon, I'm sure. Undefeated and current Kentucky Derby betting favorite. Second place finisher, that horse down to the inside of Ted Nafi. 4 career starts, 1 win, 3 seconds, horse named Mr. AP. Fourth and most recent start, broke his maiden before this, going 8 furlongs at Santa Anita. Third place finisher, 3 career starts, 2 wins and a third. That horse named Brant that Litmus Test faced in his second start, a $3 million purchase, third and most recent start. Currently the same odds for the Kentucky Derby as Litmus Test. Most recent start, December 13, 2025 at Los Alamitos, 6 weeks from the prior race. 8.5 furlongs on the dirt, fast track, the Grade 2 Los Alamitos Futurity. A big step down in class from the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup race. Breaks slightly inward from post number 3 of 6. Very slightly. I almost didn't even mention it. Shuffled back to 4th entering the first turn. Gets down to the rail. Overcame that shuffling. Seemed to want to be closer and to the outside, I thought, but when he got shuffled, was forced to the back. However, 3 of the 4 horses in front of him don't take the turn very well, leaving a clear path for Litmus Test to get near the leader. Stalks the leader in the 2 path by about 1 length. Gradually creeps up on the leader around the far turn in the 4 path and takes over the lead by the stretch. Finished first by a length and a quarter at odds of 3 to 5, so was expected to win this race. Had a little bit of trouble, went wide around the turns again, but gifted a nice trip down on the rail after those horses failed to take that first turn sharply. We'll see that in the replay. Splits for this, 23.3, 23.4, 23.8, 25.4, 6.5, final 16th. Roughly equates to a 26-second final quarter. And Los Alamitos is a little bit faster of a track, but you would like to see some fractions around this time. Now let's watch that race. So we're horse 3 of 6. Visually, it looks like he veers in more than he actually does if you watch the head-on replay, but I thought I would make note of it. Just right when he opens the gate, seems to just go left a little bit. So here, this one horse comes out right in front of Litmus Test, who's in the jockey with the yellow cap. Horses all around him, nowhere to go. You can see the jockey kind of holding him back a little bit. But now you watch these horses take this turn very wide, leaves a clear opening for Litmus Test to go up, sit right off of the leader. Now Litmus Test has a spot in the 2 path, so not going wide around the turns. He took the turn very well. Relegated to second, stalking this leader who's 6 to 1. Again, Litmus Test 3 to 5, expected to win this race pretty handily. Just a nice, comfortable stalking trip, much like Ted Nafi's previous races, sitting right off of the leader. Of course, these horses at this point are of the caliber of Ted Nafi, so this looks like a really good trip for Litmus Test. Jockey's not asking him to do too much. You can see a little shake of the rein. Litmus Test going up to go get that leader. He's creeping up slowly, cutting that margin. Jockey's still pretty cool, not pumping too hard with his arms. Gets on terms with him. Going pretty wide around the turn. Running pretty straight through the stretch. Jockey's really starting to ask him now, pull away from that leader. Veered in just a little bit. Running on. Looks like it's going to be a close race, but begins to pull away. Tells me that this horse may like the longer distance, really getting into stride now, and wins comfortably in the end. So some of the others in this race, that second place finisher, 4 career starts, 2 seconds and a third, still a maiden. Horse named Blacksmith, $525,000 purchase. This was his 3rd start. Finished 3rd in a maiden race after this, so has yet to win a race. Still couldn't beat a race where none of the horses had won a race yet. 3rd place finisher, 3 career starts, a win and 2/3. Providence, 3rd and most recent start. Broke his maiden before this, going 6 furlongs at Santa Anita. So is this horse a route runner? We'll see. Maybe just didn't like Los Alamitos. 4th place finisher, 4 career starts, a win, a second, and a third. Acknowledge Me Please, $75,000 purchase. This was his 3rd start. Ran 3rd in the Grade 2 San Vicente, going 7 furlongs on the dirt at Santa Anita in a 5-horse field after this. So now just some overall positives and negatives I'm taking away. Positives, pedigree suggests 10 furlongs should not be a problem. 1.25 miles, the Kentucky Derby distance. Is trained by one of the most successful in the country, a Hall of Famer tied with the most Kentucky Derby wins. Good show of speed on debut and ability to run in traffic while staying composed. Has good tactical speed, can be up close in the Kentucky Derby to avoid a lot of traffic issues in a 20-horse field. Won on debut, so a bit of a precocious horse, has figured things out early. Then Hall of Fame trainer had enough confidence in this horse to step up to a Grade 1 1 in his second start. Has talent and certainly eligible to improve at this stage of his career. Improved greatly in his second start against the Kentucky Derby favorite. Not his second ever start, but his second try against Ted Nafi. Cut that margin from, I think it was 5 lengths to a length and a quarter. Some of the negatives: current jockey rarely rides outside of California. Hasn't proven himself on the biggest stages, so we'll have to see if there's a jockey change in store. Has yet to win outside of 6 and 7 horse fields comprised of California-based horses. Has a small tendency to veer inside when entering the stretch. You're going to want to run as straight as an arrow in the Kentucky Derby, not give up any ground or lose any momentum. So let's see if he can clean that up as his career progresses. At this point, appears to be a step behind Ted Nafi, so how they develop in their 3-year-old season will be key, something to keep an eye on. Does not have any experience over the Churchill Downs track, so this is a bit of an unknown. Don't really blame the horse. He's based out on the West Coast, but it is nice to see a horse get one run over the track just to see if they handle it. Some horses don't handle certain tracks, and this is just an unknown at this point. So not a ton of negatives. So now for my rankings of the prospects I've covered. So again, obviously not all the horses on the trail, but just of ones that I've done videos about. I'm placing Litmus Test number 1. Good tactical speed. Cut the margin against Ted Nafi's second try, telling me that this horse could just be improving right now. Is also comfortable running in traffic, which you're almost guaranteed in the Kentucky Derby. So the fact that this horse on debut was able to run in traffic without issue is very telling. I think this horse is very talented, has just always come up second best or third best to Ted Nafi, and compared to the others I've covered, I'm placing him number 1. Blackout Time hasn't been seen since that scratch in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Rebel Instinct hasn't worked out in over 60 days. Not sure what's going on with him. Incredible and Soldier and Diplomat, I'm not entirely sure at this point. I should have done my homework, but Litmus Test number 1, and I hope to be putting up another one here soon. That's it for this video on Litmus Test. Thanks for watching, everybody. Feedback is always appreciated, positive, negative, questions, comments, etc. I love to interact with anyone who leaves a comment, so please do if you feel inclined. Please like, subscribe, and or share with friends. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers this year, so I hope Derby season I can strike while the iron's hot. I always mention that my target audience is for folks that are relatively new to the sport, so if I sound a little redundant or I'm explaining things in an obvious way, I'm trying to ingratiate new players to the game and just explain things so that they can understand them and grow the sport, grow the fan base, and help it out in any way I can. If you are a newcomer watching this, I have a couple of playlists that you might be interested in. One is how to read a racing form. I brought friends to the track before and I show them the racing form and they're a little put off by it. Looks too complicated to them. They don't want to read it. They don't want to get into it, but it's really simple. And in that playlist, I just break down each component, how to decipher it, what it's telling you, and how you can use it to make an informed decision on any given race. I also have a playlist betting on horse racing, and that's where I go over all the bets that a track typically offers, talk about what it is, how you can structure it, how much it's going to cost based on your structure, and things that I look for before placing any such wager. Coming up next, I'll probably do another video on a 3-year-old. Derby season is heating up and there's a lot of horses to cover, so that'll probably be my next video. I might handicap some upcoming races. I've been trying to put out shorts of my selections in certain races, but for whatever reason the formatting is not making them pop up as shorts. But I do have some quick 1-minute videos of a couple races I've done over the last couple weeks, so I hope to figure that out so they actually pop up as shorts. I can always resort back to the pedigree playlist, but I think this Derby season is going to keep me busy enough, so look for any new Derby prospects videos coming up next, and once in a while a quick 1-minute clip of a horse I like in an upcoming race, typically one of the bigger races of the weekend, but keep an eye out for those. Again, thanks to anybody for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like it, please subscribe, share with anyone you know, ask them to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.